And concern in China as the reporting system for COVID-19 cases is changed. The shift sees new cases surge in a single 24 hours. The WHO says the new system will allow doctors in Hubei Province to move and report cases quicker. Japan reports its first COVID-19 death as 44 more cases are confirmed on the Diamond Princess cruise ship. Japan's first fatality is a woman in her 80s. Plus, in a bipartisan attempt to restrain President Trump's war powers, the US Senate votes to limit war with Iran. However, President Trump is almost certain to veto the measure. The death toll from the coronavirus continues to spike in China. According to its state-run media on Friday, the virus killed 116 more people and infected another 4,800 in Hubei Province alone on Thursday. That brings the total in China to around 1,500 deaths and 65,000 confirmed cases. The number has surged after Hubei Province also started to count the clinically diagnosed cases based on symptoms. The World Health Organization says the new method of confirming COVID-19 should allow health authorities in Hubei Province to report cases much more quickly and also treat patients faster. Lee Seung-jae with the details.
14,840. That's the number of newly confirmed COVID-19 cases that were reported Thursday in China's Hubei Province, the epicenter of the outbreak. It established a new daily record and brought the number of confirmed cases in the region to over 48,000. However, the surge came after health authorities in Hubei Province adopted a new methodology for diagnosing the virus.
In Hubei Province only, a trained medical professional can now classify a suspected case of COVID-19 as a clinically confirmed case on the basis of chest imaging rather than having to have a laboratory confirmation.
According to the WHO official, the new method allows clinicians to move and report cases quicker without having to wait for lab confirmation. It also ensures that people get clinical care more quickly. It also allows public health responses in terms of contact tracing and other important public health measures to be initiated. As for other parts of mainland China, the official said they still need to wait for cases to be confirmed in laboratories before they are officially counted. Some have questioned the method and its transparency, as its adoption only in Hubei Province will mean there are two tracks of data in China. Others believe the new method will help international health authorities see the true scope of the outbreak. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Japan has reported its first COVID-19 death. The country's health ministry said a woman in her 80s died on Thursday in Kanagawa Prefecture after initially being diagnosed with pneumonia early this month. After her condition deteriorated, the woman who was tested for the virus on Wednesday but died before the results came back as positive. This is the third fatality outside of mainland China, following one death in the Philippines and one in Hong Kong. The ministry said the woman was not a passenger from the quarantined Diamond Princess cruise ship, which is still docked in Yokohama. Some good news, though. For 2 straight days, no new cases of the virus here in South Korea. The total remains at 28, and of them, several have made full recoveries and have been discharged from hospital. There's more welcome news as well. The third group of South Koreans and their immediate family members who were evacuated from Wuhan earlier this week have all tested negative for the virus. Choi Jong-yoon reports.
The Korea Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has confirmed that no additional cases have been reported so far on Thursday, with the total number of cases staying at 28 for 2 straight days. Of those 28 cases, 7 have been discharged from hospital after a full recovery. The remaining 21 are being quarantined and are known to be in a stable condition. For those who've been showing symptoms, currently some 670 are being tested, and more than 5,000 others who've been quarantined have been released after their test came back negative. The 147 people who arrived in South Korea on Wednesday from Wuhan on the country's third charter flight have all tested negative. Initially, authorities said that at least 5 people showed symptoms of the coronavirus. But running all the tests, the government reported that all passengers, including those 5, have tested negative and are now at the Korea Defense Language Institute in Icheon City, Gyeonggi-do Province, where they'll be isolated for 2 weeks. The passengers will each be quarantined in separate rooms and will be provided with daily supplies. Mental health consultants and translators have also been dispatched to help the passengers during their stay. Meanwhile, the government has requested that people refrain from criticizing the patients with the virus. There has been some criticism online toward the third confirmed patient for spreading the virus to 5 more people. The government says it will strictly manage the patient's privacy and will take legal measures if necessary. Choi Jung-yun, Arirang News.
South Korean health authorities have unveiled a set of treatment guidelines for COVID-19. It consists of administering an anti-HIV medication to patients twice a day. This is South Korea's first treatment protocol for those who show severe symptoms of the virus. Kim Jae-hee with the details.
Infectious disease experts in South Korea have agreed to the use of antiviral drugs in the treatment of severe coronavirus cases, senior patients, and those with underlying diseases. On the other hand, it was concluded that young patients or those with mild symptoms seem to have improved after 10 days and without any antiviral treatment.
Young and healthy people have mostly shown improvement without any special treatment, but older patients or those with underlying diseases are in need of the medication from an early stage.
Experts says this difference in treatment depending on a patient's age is actually quite normal.
Most viral infections tend to heal even without any treatment, thanks to our body's immune system. But old age in itself can raise risks, and many senior patients have underlying diseases, so it's recommended that they undergo antiviral treatment.
The government's guidelines recommended Bilateral, an antiretroviral medication used to treat AIDS for a duration of 7 to 10 days. Chloroquine or hydroxychloroquine, a medication used to prevent and treat malaria, can be used as an alternative. But experts says while the government's announcement may sound promising, it might not make much of a difference to current treatment methods.
There won't be a significant difference in the treatment methods. It's an antiviral drug that we're already using, and its effectiveness has not been fully proven. It's still just a recommendation.
But the expert is optimistic, saying that the recurrence rate of the novel coronavirus is low.
It seems unlikely that a recovered patient will catch the virus again. In fact, there are very few reports of patients being reinfected when they've recovered from other coronavirus diseases such as SARS or MERS.
He added that all 7 of the patients who have made full recoveries in South Korea had no serious underlying diseases and are unlikely to be reinfected. Kim Jae-hee, Arirang News.
Now, staying with our coverage of the coronavirus, a group of South Korean college students have made a website that shows the locations visited by confirmed COVID-19 patients. It's something many people welcome, as a great many people are concerned about where they are able to go because of fears of contracting the virus. Kim Bo-kyung reports.
To people in South Korea, keeping track of where confirmed patients have been is important. Not only because they can check the locations they should avoid, but also because they can quickly report to health authorities if they are showing any symptoms.
To ease people's anxieties, college students in South Korea came up with an idea to make a map showing the locations that confirmed patients have visited.
4 students in their 20s learned programming together for a year, and after the coronavirus outbreak, they developed a website called Corona Nearby.
Although lots of information on coronavirus was being provided, we didn't think it was in a nice format that people could look at. So we thought we could make a map-like version.
If you visit the website, you first need to allow the computer or mobile device to know your location. Then, based on the information where you are or where you'd like to go, you can find any nearby sites where confirmed patients have visited. You can also see the nearby hospitals in case you show any symptoms. Another website called Corona Map also shows the number of confirmed patients and a history of their whereabouts since contracting the virus.
I wanted to correct false information on platforms such as social media or YouTube, so I made a map service based on the data from Korea Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Young inventors of both websites say that they will update the information until the coronavirus outbreak passes. They also added that they will continue to work for public good.
We received lots of feedback from many people saying it was of great help. We felt pride in what we did, so if other issues come up in the future, we will try our best to do something for society.
Inventors hope they can close the websites down so that people don't need to worry anymore. 김보경, 아리랑 뉴스.
President Moon Jae-in met with the heads of major South Korean conglomerates on Thursday for candid discussions on ways to minimize the economic impact of the virus. The South Korean leader called on the business tycoons to carry on with their original investment plans while assuring the South Korean public that the outbreak will end soon. Kim Min-ji has this report.
President Moon Jae-in says the government and the business sector need to work hand in hand to revitalize the local economy amid concerns over the coronavirus outbreak. Meeting with a group of business leaders on Thursday, Moon called for them to invest aggressively as planned.
어려울 때일수록 미래를 향한 과감한 투자가 경제를 살리고 혁신 성장의 발판이 되었습니다. 기업도 정부를 믿고 코로나19 상황 이전에 예정했던 설비 투자를 차질 없이 진행해 주길 기대합니다.
The president also promised that the government will draw up preemptive measures customized for each industry, such as tourism, airlines, and shipping, while also pushing ahead with tax incentives and deregulation. While expressing regret that the virus has taken a toll on the economy, which was showing signs of recovery, Moon voiced optimism that the situation will soon be contained.
국내에서의 방역 관리는 어느 정도 안정적인 단계로 들어선 것 같습니다. 방역 당국이 끝까지 긴장을 놓지 않고 최선을 다하고 있기 때문에 코로나19는 머지않아 종식될 것입니다.
Among the participants on Thursday were Samsung Electronics Vice Chairman Lee Jae-yong, SK Chairman Choi Tae-won, and LG Chairman Koo Kwang-mo, as well as the heads of business organizations, including the Korea Chamber of Commerce and Industry. They too expressed concerns that the virus outbreak has taken a toll on exports and consumption and called for more active support from the government.
We asked for the government's support in February to speed up the normalization of operations within China. It would also be effective to help SMEs that are facing difficulties.
Following candid discussions, Cheongwade spokesperson Kang Min-seok said that Moon called for related ministries to address the concerns brought up at the meeting. The president also stressed that his recent schedule has been focused on swiftly reviving sentiment that's withered due to the virus, calling for continued efforts from the country's conglomerates. Kim Min-ji, Arirang News.
South Korea's import and export prices both fell in January, according to the Bank of Korea. On Friday, the country's import price index fell 0.8% from the previous month, marked by falling global oil prices. The price of Dubai crude, which is the benchmark here in South Korea, was around $64 a barrel last month, down almost 1% on month. South Korea's export prices were also down 0.8% from last December. The central bank said the fall in export prices was largely due to the weakening greenback against the local currency. A senior U.S. military official has accused North Korea of continuing to disregard international norms and promote regional unrest. Speaking to the U.S. Senate Armed Services Committee on Thursday, Strategic Commander Admiral Charles Richard said the regime continues to test ICBMs and increase its stockpiles of short and medium-range missiles. He called on the need to ramp up America's defenses as the committee discussed the defense budget for the fiscal year 2021. The 56th Munich Security Conference will kick off in Germany for a three-day run. In a few hours from now, Seoul's top diplomat is already in the German city to attend the annual security conference. Kang Kyung-hwa will not only take part in the multilateral sessions there, but she will also meet with her counterparts from the United States, Mike Pompeo, as well as her counterpart from Japan. Oh Jung-hee reports.
South Korea's Foreign Minister Kang Kyung-hwa left Thursday for Germany, where she'll attend the Munich Security Conference later this week. Seoul's Foreign Ministry is yet to confirm whether Minister Kang Kyung-hwa will be sitting down with her counterparts from the US, Japan, and China. But if the talks do happen, they'll definitely be touching upon some heavy issues, ranging from North Korea to security and the economy. Speaking to reporters at the airport, Kang said if she gets to meet with U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo one-on-one, then they're likely to discuss the sharing of defense costs and the denuclearization talks with North Korea. She added that the reshuffle at the U.S. State Department won't have much impact on the nuclear negotiations, as Stephen Biegun, who's now the Deputy Secretary of State, is still firmly in charge. There will be even more to talk about if she meets with Japanese Foreign Minister Toshimitsu Motegi because of the two countries' prolonged diplomatic row. Japan has restricted exports to South Korea in retaliation for the South Korean Supreme Court's rulings in 2018 that ordered Japanese firms to compensate the Korean victims of Japan's wartime forced labor. Seoul, in turn, decided to terminate its int'l sharing pact with Japan called GSOMIA, but in the end delayed that decision. Senior officials from Seoul and Tokyo have met several times over the matter, but the two sides are still far apart.
There have been conversations between the expert authorities of the two sides, but things have not recovered to where they were before last July. Our decision in November to postpone the termination of GSOMIA was a temporary measure. We have the basic right to terminate the pact anytime we want.
Another big talking point is the radioactive waste in Fukushima. Japan has not yet officially decided how to deal with it, but is leaning towards releasing it into the sea. Seoul is urging Tokyo to share related information transparently and abide by international standards. Oh Jung-hee, Arirang News.
In domestic politics, with South Korea's April general elections a matter of weeks away, lawmakers of three centrist and conservative parties will come together to create an integrated bloc. It's going to be called the Party for Future Integration. This new party will be comprised of 115 lawmakers from the main opposition Liberty Korea Party, the New Conservative Party and the Onward for Future 4.0. The latter two were formed by lawmakers who broke away from the current Bareunmirae Party. They hope the move will help them win the April 15th general elections. The committee preparing the merger said the party's main colour will be millennial pink to represent the integration of moderate and conservative forces. The Liberty Korea Party's colour is red. The Party for Future Integration will officially launch next Monday. The newest foldable smartphone model from Samsung Electronics has arrived in South Korea and is available to buy right now. Samsung and the country's three telecommunications giants started online and offline sales of the Galaxy Z Flip at 9 a.m. Korea time, just over an hour ago. SIM-free models can be purchased through online channels like Samsung.com or Coupang. According to industry sources, around 20,000 units will be released in the first week alone. The Galaxy Z Flip retails for $1,400 in South Korea. The US Senate has passed a resolution to limit President Trump's war powers against Iran. For more on this and other news from around the world, let's turn to our Yoon Jung-min. Jung-min, tell us more.
Yes, Mark, the Senate has agreed to limit President Trump's ability to wage war against Iran. On Thursday, the Senate voted 55 to 45 for the War Powers Resolution. 8 Senate Republicans joined the chamber's Democrats to support the legislation. The law requires President Trump to remove U.S. troops engaged in hostilities against Iran unless Congress declares war or authorizes the use of military force. This aims to rebuke the president after the U.S. drone killing last month of Iranian military commander Qasem Soleimani in Baghdad. Tehran's retaliation has raised fears of a full-fledged war. Take a listen.
But the Senate just sent a clear shot across the bow. A bipartisan majority of senators don't want the president waging war without congressional approval. That sums up the whole thing.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she would bring the Senate measures up for a House vote this month. And of course, President Trump wouldn't be happy. Even if it passes the House, President Trump is almost certain to veto it. Congress can override the president's veto when 2/3 of each House and Senate agree on it, but that seems unlikely to happen. The OECD predicts global corporate income tax revenues to increase some 4% a year after digital reform, a tax reform that's an extra $100 billion annually. It says the revenue gains would be similar across all countries, whether they be high, middle, or low-income economies. The OECD says it aims to get the agreement done by the end of this year. The U.S. and France have been in a standoff over digital taxation for months. The Trump administration claims the taxation targets American tech giants like Apple, Google, and Facebook. The U.S. electric car maker Tesla announced Thursday that it plans to offer $2 billion of common stock. CNBC says the company will offer 2.65 million Tesla shares through Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley. CEO Elon Musk will buy some $10 million of stock in the offering, while board member Larry Ellison will purchase up to $1 million. Tesla said it plans to use the proceeds to further strengthen its balance sheet and is also for general corporate purposes.
Good morning. We will enjoy nice early spring-like weather with big temperature differences though. Low to mid-single-digit morning lows will jump more than 10 degrees Celsius by the afternoon, getting close to 20 degrees Celsius for some parts of the country. So let's take a closer look. Seoul will get up to 14 degrees, Daegu, Gyeongju, and Busan 18 degrees, Gwangju topping out at 19 degrees this afternoon, and skies will get brighter as the day goes on. But we have that unpleasant ultra-fine dust again for the north and center of the country, but at least some of you down south, you can enjoy better air today. Now, the cold winter weather does not want to say farewell just yet. A bone-chilling air mass will swoop into the country after nationwide precipitation this weekend, and the cold will linger through early next week, so we will still need our thick winter jackets for next week. That's Korea for you, and here's the international weather for views around the world.
Well, that's all the news and weather we have for now on this Friday morning here in Seoul. Stay tuned to Arirang TV. Our next newscast is at noon Korea time, around an hour and a half from now. But if we don't see you, have a wonderful weekend. Until next time, goodbye.
novel coronaviruses are spreading all over the world. To prevent the virus from spreading further, it's essential to